okay. Hello, everyone. Is the sound okay from my side? Yeah, yeah. Yes. So, as just introduced, we are Shy Bairns, an arts collective based in Manchester. We've been working together since 2016. We're originally all from the northeast. That's where we met. And we all, because we can't leave each other, moved to Manchester together as well. Come as a pack in the northeast. And yeah, so we've been making zines now pretty much the whole time that we've worked together. We've also ventured in other things like exhibitions and artist talks, and I've done a lot of workshops that have been in real life. This is, as we mentioned, the first one that we've done via Zoom. And we've got some, just to quickly introduce, we've got some examples of some books. You won't be able to see though because of the speakers. We've got some examples of some books that we've made. This was the first one that we did, and it's just sort of highlighting the differences of the types of books that we've made within our workshops and within our practice.
Flip it onto the sound on here.
Yeah, we're just going to turn the sound over, sorry, onto the others.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, can you hear me on this one?
Yeah. So this book is the first book that we made as an arts collective, and this is a perfect bound book. So we printed it ourselves, and we got somebody, Manchester Print Publishers, to finish that off for us. So this one was a little bit lengthier. Yeah, the content's quite.
Yeah.
And this one's a little bit lengthier. In contrast to that, we've done a much quicker publication. This was for the Castlefield exhibition that we did recently. And this one was more of just an information booklet. So again, printed in lithograph, which we use because we often print quite a big run. This one was a digital publication that we did as part of New Contemporaries, which took place, it was 2018, in London and in Liverpool. And this one we collected responses from the public regarding the show, some of which were good, some bad, and put that together. And then another that we did was from a university. Big. Yeah, this one's bigger, which was done on the day. We did this in about a 2-hour workshop and collaborated with students at Sunderland University, got them to experiment with their own practice and create content that could be put together in a zine in one day. Yeah. So the zines there that we've just shown you, they sort of varied in time scale and effort really. The zine that we're going to show you today is a big zine, and that is, we've got a couple of examples here. Yeah. And this is a simple zine that you can do. Ours is on an A3 page, which makes it each page A6. You could do it smaller, but it might be a little bit fiddly if you do. So we've chosen to go with A3. Have we got some examples here as well? I don't know if you want to talk.
Yeah, I'll talk through them. Yes, these are just some examples that we've curated for this workshop of zines that we own. So if anyone isn't familiar with the term zine, it's normally used for DIY pamphlets. It's got a lot of connections to alternative culture, with roots in stuff like science fiction and the Riot Girl movement in the 90s. And I mean, as you can see with ours, they can be kind of any size, any shape, any topic, whatever you want to make. But lots of people do associate them with more fanzine things or radical politics. So I'm just going to go through a few these are all made in the same way that we're going to show you today. So this one is by an artist, Safa Khan, who runs Tender Hands Press, which is this presser based in Glasgow. And they do a lot of kind of instructional zines that show you how to make zines. So it would be really useful if you want to go further after this workshop to look up Tender Hands Press. And this is one that is actually like the master copy. So normally with zines, if you make them by hand, you'd make a master copy, scan it, and then distribute that. This one was made at a workshop we ran at Partisan,
which is an art space, an accessible art space in Manchester.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like a master copy. So then the person who made this, if they then want to distribute it, they just scan it And this is one that I've been working on at the minute. So with zines for me, I normally don't make this type of zine, but what it really helps me with is if I want to make a bigger project or a bigger photo book, then sometimes I'll put my ideas together in a smaller zine like this and print it out just to see what it vibes like. But this is just a collection of some lucky objects. And yeah, it's a really good way to just test out, see like how your photos look against each other on a spread and things like that. This is one that we've just printed off recently that was shared on Instagram, where you can see kind of the radical politics coming back into zine making and not just being like just an arts thing. So this was produced by Gentle Pokes on Instagram as a toolbox for protesters to take to the protests that are on at the minute, kind of what to wear. So they're still being used as like DIY things. This one specifically was just put onto a link online, so anyone can download it, print it out, and it had the information of how to cut and bind it. And yeah, I think that's all of the ones that we've got.
Yeah, so this one we just put together to show you how to make a big zine today. We did this digitally. I'm going to show you just now how we did it. It's just a simple template we used InDesign. However, if you weren't wanting to do digitally, you wanted to do something freehand, it's exactly the same process when you're putting the actual paper together and folding it. It would just mean that it might be worth, with a pencil marking out if it makes it easier for you which page is which, just so that you know.
Does anyone have any questions so far?
No good?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, the chat function's just on the side, so if you do want to ask any questions, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye. So I'm just going to I was going to share my screen.
If I take the sound off this one. Okay. Can everyone hear us okay?
And is everyone able to see my screen at the moment? Yeah. So this is the file that we did before in InDesign. We set this up as a 8-page.
So it'll be 8-page A6 zine that you want. If you're doing your first designs, that's what you're going to end up with if you use an A3 sheet of paper.
And I've just marked it out. I've done it really simple here, just marking out which pages would be your content pages, your cover page, and your back cover page. These blanks are just due to my InDesign. This won't make a difference when you put it into Photoshop. We've then put this over into Photoshop here and used the rulers to mark out exactly.
So screen share and pause.
Oh, sorry.
New share.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get this. Let's have a look. Sorry about this. It doesn't want to.
There we go.
There we go.
So with this bit, we've just exported what we've done on InDesign into a PDF, and then placed it into these places on Photoshop. If anyone wants this template afterwards, you're welcome to email us and we can share it with you, or we can share it with Redeye and they can email it out to participants. But literally every single time that I've made one of these zines, I can't seem to keep it in my head where the pages go.
It just gets confusing.
It confuses me every single time. So if you're looking at that and thinking, oh, I can't follow that, that's fine. Every single time I have to Google it and get another image up to compare.
Yeah, so we're happy to send this out. Yeah, so sorry, so in answer to your question, yeah, it was A6 pages that then put together into an A3 sheet of paper. And the template, we've just made that ourselves, put this onto Photoshop, which is what you can see now, using the rulers, but we can, like we say, easily send this out to you, or we're happy to put together a simple template to send out. That's absolutely no problem at all if anybody would like that. And then we might have an issue with my screen sharing again. Let's have a look. Ooh, share screen. There we go. So this is the final design of what it looked like when we printed it out. So that's just each page going from cover round to the back page. So should we swap this back over with the sound?
So if I just unmute myself there, can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, cool. So as you can see, it's gone from that PDF to this. So now I'm going to show you how we did that. So this is the PDF printed out. It's quite big on A3. And all we're going to do is fold in one cut. So you can use, I got a bone folder, which I got for 3p off AliExpress. But you can just use a butter knife, or you can use the back of a spoon, works, or a ruler, really. And I'm going to use a scalpel and a metal ruler, but it would work just as well just with scissors cutting down the middle. So your first fold that you want to do, you want to turn it round so the design is on the back, fold like that. And just get that perfect. So then just go down there with your bone folder or spoon or whatever it is that you're using. So one fold that way to make it like a long piece of paper now. Fold it back out, turn it on its back again, and fold it in half again. Yeah. So it should look like an A4 sheet after you've folded it for the second time. Once you've got that, open it up again. This time you want your design to be facing upwards. And you want to get the edges after where the middle fold is and fold them in to the middle. So that makes those A6 pages. So now you can see kind of, thankfully our pages are exactly where we were meant to be, which sometimes doesn't happen. You can get, I know when if you print straight to a printer, this one's printed borderless, but if you print with a border, sometimes it's worth chopping those borders off before you start folding, because they kind of skew your measurements a little bit. Yeah. So now we've got this kind of thing, which is folded into A6 segments. So the next thing to do is make a cut. So you want to cut where you can see 2 and 3 are. You basically want to cut along the top of the line there. So I'm going to use a ruler and a scalpel, but you can just fold it and chop straight along there with scissors if that's easier for you. If you want a really rough one, you could just rip it, but I'm sure you can find a pair of scissors somewhere. Yeah, if you want to be really punk, just grab it in your teeth and rip it. So you can see that cut is what makes these zines. They're often called beak books or beak zines. So that's kind of horrible mouth there. What you want to do with that then is open it up and kind of fold it. It's kind of like a cross that it'll end up as. And then normally I find my cover page, grab hold of that and fold it again there. And then what I would always do afterwards is just go over it with the bone folder again and just flatten out.
Somebody has asked what the heaviest paper is that we'd use. Would it still be foldable?
I'm not actually sure what this is.
About 120.
Yeah, this is 120 and it's quite chunky.
I wouldn't say. I probably would recommend going above.
Something like this is 100, and it's quite nice. But yeah, I think anything thicker than this, and then the paper grain starts going a little bit funny and like bits stick out. But it really depends on what you're going for. If you want it to look sleek and elegant in the first place, I don't think this is the right method to use. But it should work with anything up to like 150-ish, 160 should be fine. And that's essentially it. And then you've got your nice, so.
You can also do, I mean, these designs that we've done here, we've literally just popped in so you can see the number order. If you were doing it double-sided as well, it's quite nice when people often use like a poster fold out if you were wanting to sell them or give them away. Obviously there is a split in the middle, but if it's held flat, it can be used as a handout or as a poster. I think that's quite a nice element as well, because you don't really see it until you open it out fully. But yeah, does anybody have any questions with any of that? Is there anything anyone would like to add, or feel free as well if you don't want to type anything to jump into chat. Do you stick the content on or do it digitally? A bit of, I mean,
yeah, so today the one that we've done it digitally and just made it from scratch on InDesign, which is an Adobe software. But this one, if I fold this one out, you can see that this one has just been stuck down. So that one is just, it's just pens and stickers and a little bit of collage.
Printer.
What printer do we use?
Delphi is, oh, it's an A3 printer. It's not actually
ours.
It's
sick. It's not ours.
It's very handy.
Yeah, it's a Brother. Do I want to type this in, Al, and then people have got it? It's Brother MFC J67200W. That's it. And yeah, it is a really nice printer that prints with borderless, which saves you doing that extra little bit of faff of cutting it down on a guillotine.
Would anybody like to see it made? I mean, we could do it from a blank piece of paper, maybe.
Yeah.
Or is it clear? Was it clear enough from the design that we did already? Like we say, we're happy to show the templates, which could then.
Yeah, we can send you guys the templates if anyone wants them. Eddie Taylor raised a hand.
Raise a hand. It's just, okay. Template would be great.
Yeah.
Oh. Is that yes for the template or yes for the to start from scratch?
Rachel, is it best off if we send you the template?
Template. Okay.
Okay. Cool. And then you can get that out.
Yeah, we're more than happy to do that. Cool. And that's it, really. Yes for both. Ah, okay. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, hello.
Sorry, I can ask a question rather than typing.
Oh, Matt,
sorry,
just swap.
1 second.
Just swap.
Right, now I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Obviously, that's a basic design. Have you got any sort of recommendations for sort of references or books that are good for sort of doing more perhaps more advanced sort of self-publishing type books?
Yeah, there's a book that I actually know. I don't have it here with me, but London Centre for Book Arts. They're fantastic. So they have a studio and a workshop in London, but they also published a book. I think it's called How to Make Books. But it's gorgeous and they're really great. They're currently, I think they're struggling a little bit with funding because of the virus and everything being closed. But they've been putting some resources online, and there's also that book. And if you're based anywhere near London, obviously when this global pandemic is over, they run a lot of workshops that are a little bit more in depth and more to do with traditional bookbinding.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Delphi's asked if we have any examples of digital zines for A4. Ooh, ones that would be easy to do at home. Let's have a look. Sorry, we've got a collection of zines. Let me just go and double check.
A4. Oh, is it A4 digital zine? Is that?
We don't have so much digital, but we have got. Let's have a look. Go through the archive.
Yeah, I've got one.
You've got one.
Yeah. This is almost A4.
Yeah, but that was printed A3. On A3
Ah, okay,
I still
okay.
think she means A5s.
Sorry, can you clarify whether you mean printed to be the size A4 or is it A5 and then folded?
Because we have these.
Yeah, she said printed onto like a home A4 printer. Made it.
Yeah, there's some examples of our test ones that we did in there. Yeah, that one can do.
Yeah.
So this one is just, it's printed on a risograph printer, but it would be exactly the same as printing it at home. And it's just a really simple saddle stitch bound thing. So it's literally just stapled with a long arm stapler, and it is 3 sheets of paper put together. InDesign as a program will export zines like that for you, so you don't need to do any kind of faffy cutting and sticking. Does that answer your question?
Anybody that's wanting to make one printed onto a piece of A4.
No, we've answered that.
All right, sorry. For anybody that's making any zines at home as well, if you're wanting to stapler, these super clips we've used quite a few times that have come in really handy, especially in workshops, but also just if you're wanting to do it like page by page and put together content, maybe if you aren't wanting to do something digitally where it's you know, curated. If you wanted something that you've just put together, they're really handy too. We've used them as shown here in workshops. This method that we've used, this is all A3 paper that we've folded in half and put the fold on the outside. And to make a book quite speedy, really, we did that in about an hour or so.
Yeah.
There's just, can I say, your video went funny when you were saying the name of the staples. Could you say it again?
Oh, sorry, yes. The staples, they're super clips.
Yeah. It's by Rapesco. And yeah, that's what's used.
And there's a couple more questions that might have slipped past. One was about, is it okay just to throw these at you?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Where'd you get your risographs printed? Did you get that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I work at Manchester School of Art in the bookbinding room as a technician, so I sneakily do a lot of printing there.
There are a lot of print studios that you can order from. One that we have used regularly that we pick up, Manchester-based, is Mark, the printers. But I mean, it completely depends where people are from and where they're getting them sent to for postage and things like that. There's
a lot in London-based. There's Page Masters and Hato that are both really good. Yeah, thanks for that link. We've got one literally behind us right now, a risograph, but it's knackered. We haven't. we swore we got it for free from the Labour Party in Durham. We swore that we'd get it fixed, and then the end of the world happened, so we haven't quite got there with it yet.
Yeah.
And there's another question. Can you suggest any more zine artists like yourselves? From Neve.
Ooh, God, it's like, you know, when somebody asks you what your favourite film is and you forget every film that you've ever seen. Favourite zine artists?
It's going to kill me. Safa Khan, definitely.
Yeah,
makes amazing stuff.
Caitlin Akers.
Yeah, Caitlin Akers.
Who's Manchester-based. A lot of the artists are people that we've worked with, sort of.
Yeah. Could probably give you websites to look at better than specific artists. So places like Salford Zine Library, who've got a lot of their archive online. There is
Glasgow Zine Library as well, who have a great collection of zines that you can access.
There's Sittingbourne Zine Library now. Swansea do a Zine Fest every year. And Salford Zine Library run Northwest Zine Fest every year. Holly Cassio makes really good zines about Bruce Springsteen.
How are you spelling Casio, like the calculator?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And Cherry Styles as well made a zine called The Chapess, which was, I think, the first zine I read when I was maybe about 16, 17. And they're really great and still publishing at the minute.
And then I've got a question, if I may. I'm not sure if everyone has the Adobe software. I've been looking at the Affinity software, which is 1/10 of the price.
Yep.
It seems very good actually, but I don't know if it does all of this. Are you aware?
So Affinity, I've used Affinity
I'm
Photo,
not.
which is very similar to Photoshop, to be honest.
And
If you weren't wanting to, I mean, Affinity, when I got it, it was like a free trial at the time. But yeah, for the package, I've never used any of the other ones, but the Photoshop equivalent, sorry, is definitely quite similar. It's not as advanced, but I'd say for anything like this, or even more advanced zine making, they would be.
You can honestly make it a zine from Word.
Yeah.
Like, all you need to be able to do is have 8 PDF pages and dump them into that order that we used on Photoshop. So any free software that you can use, we're just snobs, so we've got Adobe. But anything free that you can use, absolutely use that. And even better, you can just print stuff off and arrange it manually, like I showed on this kind of thing.
Yeah, I
and
think
there's also Affinity Designer, which I've never used, but is similar to Photo. It's like 30 quid or something. So, oh, you're frozen.
Oh, sorry, it went a bit. Sorry, yeah, you were lagging there. Yeah, Affinity Designer. I've never used myself, but yeah, like I say, the Affinity Photo works fine. But I think the beauty with this is because you can just use it going straight from a blank piece of paper. It completely depends what you want to get out of it. We can be a couple of perfectionists at times. So sometimes when we're doing things digitally, we get a bit too into it. But you can do it straight from drawings, or I mean, when we've done workshops before, we don't have a straight example here, but we did a workshop at Partisan in Manchester, and people would drawing straight across the page, full A3 sheets, and then making them into that zine, which is quite nice to go in between the pages. It doesn't have to, I don't think it needs to be thought as 8 separate pages or 6 internal separate pages of content. It's nice to just pop it together into a publication. We put anything into a publication. We're mad for me. We think outside of publications. But yeah. Was there any other questions from anybody, or? I think that seems so.
Maybe just a quick question. Have you made any zines with photographs printed, I suppose, in a reasonably high quality?
Oh, we've got one. We've got these ones.
Yeah, so this is printed by who is it that prints these?
Was it printed in Leeds? God,
So you would in fact get it printed or outsource your printing. You just design it and then outsource it.
So with, say, this one and this one, so these 2 zines that we showed earlier.
Can you see still on the camera? Do you have access to see? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, on these 2 zines, these were just printed on this printer.
We might need
here.
to swap our sound over, Jay. Sorry, 1 second.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, so these zines were just printed on this kind of normal home printer.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
Oops.
Trying to sort that out. This one we sent away to print it. I can't actually remember the Mixam.
Mixam's a website that we've used quite a few times when we've wanted either digitally printed content or wanted quick turnaround for content as well. It's Mixam, and they're an online sort of digital printers. They do go beyond just these sort of smaller zines. You can print all sorts with them, but they've been really good, and the print quality comes out, we found, quite nice. You can select, you have all of your options that way. Whereas when we've printed ourselves on our own risograph printer or on the uni risograph printer, we're often not limited, but it just depends on the sort of
Mixam printed this one as well, which is massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
You can see like the size of it.
So I would say it just depends on what you're wanting to get out of it. If it's something that you're happy to be quite hands-on, if you're wanting like a digital photography book, I would recommend Mixam.
I know from working at the uni and bookbinding, a lot of our students use Mixam to print photography books, and they're always great quality.
Okay, so and you would print them on, or you design it in InDesign and then ship it out to somebody to print, huh?
Yeah, so normally they just require like a PDF.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I was just going to say, I printed that one through Mixam.
We've got that.
We have that.
Because I gave it to you when you came to Sunderland University. And you can't really tell from there, but the print quality was actually excellent. And I had I'm not here to advertise them, but there was a fault when they sent through the first print, and they were really good at reprinting and getting them out to me in a couple of days. So the customer service was good with them as well.
Yeah. No, their customer service is great. Yeah, we've got your bookie.
Yeah.